In an era defined by political spectacle, few figures have mastered chaos like Donald Trump. From Twitter tirades to international trade wars, his approach to governance has often blurred the line between theater and threat. But when news leaked of Trump's alleged threat to annex Canada, it became clear the US president's political ambitions may now carry territorial implications, real or rhetorical. Though no official statement has confirmed the annexation threat, credible leaks from senior aides suggest that in a closed-door conversation, Trump expressed serious contempt for Canada's immigration policy, energy independence, and what he described as a sanctuary zone for American defectors. In one alarming moment, he allegedly remarked that the US could have a historic claim over parts of Canada due to shared military history and economic integration. The comments, initially dismissed by American media as another one of Trump's off-the-cuff exaggerations, have not gone unnoticed across the border. Canadian political leaders and security officials have taken the matter with a level of seriousness that reflects a broader concern that Trump's populist nationalism is no longer contained within US borders. To those who followed Trump's presidency and post-presidency, the annexation rhetoric is not entirely out of character. Canada has long been a target of Trump's wrath. During his presidency, he imposed steep tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, branding Canada a national security risk, repeatedly insulted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, once calling him very dishonest and weak, threatened to scrap NAFTA unless Canada agreed to sweeping new terms under the USMCA, and dismissed Canada's role in NATO as freeloading, despite the country's consistent military contributions. In Trump's political playbook, diplomacy often takes a back seat to domination. His worldview is binary. Allies are either submissive or suspect. When Canada refused to fall in line, on trade, defense spending or immigration policy, it became a convenient punching bag for Trump's nationalist rhetoric. But the annexation threat, however unserious or symbolic, crossed a line. It wasn't just a rebuke of policy, it was a direct threat to sovereignty. Canada's response to Trump's aggression has been measured but firm. While Prime Minister Trudeau's government issued a general condemnation of irresponsible and inflammatory rhetoric, the real shift has come behind the scenes, led by a surprising figure, Mark Carney. Carney, once governor of the Bank of Canada and later the Bank of England, has largely operated outside the realm of partisan politics. Known for his technocratic precision and calm demeanor, he's been hailed as a global financial statesman. But in the wake of Trump's threats and the global instability they represent, Carney has emerged as the architect of Canada's long-overdue geopolitical recalibration. In recent months, Carney has expanded his role as an informal advisor to the Liberal government. He's rumored to be leading strategic talks on everything from defense readiness to trade diversification and energy independence. Analysts increasingly believe his re-entry into the public sphere is a prelude to a formal leadership bid, with some within the Liberal Party already preparing for a post-Trudeau transition. Carney's vision is not simply reactive, it's proactive. Where past Canadian governments have emphasized partnership with the United States as a bedrock principle of foreign policy, Carney's emerging doctrine appears to be one of resilient sovereignty. The belief that Canada must reduce strategic dependencies and develop hardened defenses, economically, militarily, and ideologically. Key proposals and strategies reportedly under Carney's direction include a Sovereignty Defense Act, proposed legislation that would enshrine Canada's right to respond economically and diplomatically to foreign political interference, including digital disinformation and extraterritorial threats from allies. Pan-Commonwealth realignment revitalizing trade, defense, and climate cooperation among Commonwealth nations to reduce reliance on the U.S. market. Energy autonomy, fast-tracking clean energy investments and critical mineral development to make Canada a global supplier of non-U.S. dependent renewables. Digital border walls, enhancing cybersecurity protections and misinformation countermeasures, with specific attention to U.S.-based extremist platforms operating within Canadian digital spaces. These moves are bold, especially in a country that has historically defined itself through peacekeeping and diplomacy. But Carney's supporters argue that the geopolitical climate demands it. The deeper issue isn't just Trump, it's Trumpism. Even if Trump fails to reclaim the presidency, his political base remains highly influential. His ideology, nationalist, revisionist, and authoritarian curious, has taken hold of one of the world's most powerful political parties. And Canada, America's northern neighbor, is well within its ideological blast radius. Recent polling in Canada shows a significant rise in public concern over U.S. political instability. Over 70% of Canadians believe the U.S. is on the verge of political violence, while a growing number support reducing bilateral dependence in areas like energy and defense. This is a historic reversal. For decades, Canada viewed its close relationship with the U.S. as a protective buffer against geopolitical chaos. Now, many Canadians fear that chaos could cross the border, via culture, via trade, or in Trump's words, via annexation. While much of the American media shrugged off Trump's remarks, global leaders paid attention. European allies, already rattled by Trump's disdain for NATO and his open admiration for autocrats, quietly reached out to Canadian officials offering support. British and French diplomats, in particular, are said to have expressed solidarity with Canada, calling the remarks dangerous and imperialistic. The potential fallout goes beyond Canada. If the U.S. under Trump or any future populist leadership begins to treat allies as adversaries and borders as negotiable, the global post-World War II order could unravel further. The annexation threat may have been unserious, but its logic is deadly serious. Power over partnership, chaos over coalition. What began as a bizarre outburst may have triggered one of the most important political transformations in Canadian history. The Trump doctrine, volatile, expansionist, and unapologetically aggressive, has forced Canada to rethink everything: its alliances, its autonomy, and its assumptions about the U.S. Mark Carney, once a quiet steward of financial stability, now stands as the face of a new Canadian ethos, one that no longer defines itself by its proximity to power, but by its resilience against it. In the coming months, as Trump's influence continues to grow, Canada's political evolution may become a global case study in how liberal democracies can survive in an era of unpredictable authoritarianism. If Carney's doctrine succeeds, Canada could emerge not just intact, but stronger, smarter, and more sovereign than ever before. Thanks for watching.